All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Sorry, Piera is being attacked by cats at the moment.
She is. Look at her. Oh my
Story
god.
of my life.
Oh, welcome, kitties. Welcome. But hello, everybody. Welcome to our live show for our name of the book, June Book of the Month, which is Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. So we will start out this live show by doing a bit of a spoiler-free discussion for anyone who hasn't read the book. I can see a few comments of people saying they haven't read the book yet, which is fine. We will start out with just like our general thoughts, some things we liked about the book, maybe disliked about the book, but spoiler-free, and then we will dive into some of the spoilery details, but we will give you some warning before we do that. I feel like we should do this at the start, just for the people who haven't read the book. But if you haven't seen, our July book of the month is Fury Born by Claire Legrand. So this is the book we're reading from today onwards, and we'll be discussing
That's right, yeah.
in a month's time. Woo! So that's very exciting.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out why. Like I'm trying to look at the comments as well, but it's just not working for me. So.
All right. So, hold on, I feel like I should quickly tweet a link. And let's also, just at the start, while we're going through our thoughts, let's just go alphabetical. So we're not like, who speaks next? Ha ha ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, am I not lost for once?
I'm lost.
Just kidding, I'm always lost.
Oh my god, someone's like, I read this title is not my side dick.
I have a lot of
Okay. To be fair,
my
the
side
name
dick is
is
amazing.
Donkley Dorcas McDingle, so I'm not surprised that's where your brain
I look
went.
healthier. Someone just said I look healthier. I'm not. I'm still super sick, but it's a shitload of makeup.
Oh. All right. So let's start out with kind of general rating of the book, what we thought. So I gave Not Your Sidekick about a 4 stars. I thought it was really fun. It definitely reads as younger, even though the main character's like 16 to 17. The romance was by far my favorite thing about the book. Really intrigued by the world. Some like we'll go into all of the details about some of the smaller things that didn't love about it when we get into spoilers, I think. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. It was super fun. Els?
Oh yeah, that's me. I also gave it 4 stars. So I've read it a couple of times now, and I love it. I have like a list of flaws, but we'll get to those. I think the main thing that I love is the normalization of a queer relationship in a speculative text. I think that's my favorite thing about it. It's very cute.
Oh my god, who was that?
Who was that?
That was mine. Sorry, people are just sending me emails. Oh, it's no
On a Sunday. How dare they?
I know, right? Who emails on a Sunday?
Piera.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. Here we go.
Look, I didn't hate it. I read it very quickly because I was like, I need to just get it done. Aries, get off my god. I would have given it like maybe like a 2.5, 3, just because it's just not my cup of tea. It did read a lot younger as well. Like you said, it read more like a middle grade. The only thing I really liked about it was the romance and like the normalization of it. I would have loved it more when I was like 12 and really into like superheroes, like you know that like the worlds where they're like the superheroes are like out there getting brand endorsements and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to like your hidden superheroes. Yeah, I mean, like it didn't do anything for me. It didn't change my life. I didn't hate it, but yeah, it just, I mean, like I said, I'm so deep in like high fantasy right now. Coming out of it to do anything else is just like, who am I?
What am I doing with my life?
Exactly. Why am I not fighting dragons on a quest?
Because that's not what real life is, apparently.
Fake news. Fake news.
Fake news, yeah. So my turn?
Yes, Sophia, go.
My turn. So I gave it a 3. Obviously, I like, there were parts of it like I thought were a bit clunky, so it wasn't exactly like my favorite thing to read. However, I really liked the superhero world. I really liked how they like did the whole like hero and villain thing. I thought that was very interesting and very much reminiscent of like comic books. And one of the girls at our bookmate said that was very like sky high, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what I think. It was like sky high. I also really liked, you know, queer relationships and how they were very much normalized as well. So that was very nice to see. And also the discussions around being biracial, especially. So that was really good.
Awesome.
Cool.
I'm just going to answer a couple of questions that come in.
Sure.
Stick to some spoiler-free stuff for the next little while. If for those of you that haven't read the book in particular and want to know a little bit more about the book, feel free to ask us a bunch of questions in the next little while so we can answer those before diving into all of the spoilery stuffs. But one question is romance the main thing in the book? And I feel like in the middle of the book, it was very much prevalent. It was like the main focus for like kind of the middle of the book. And
Yeah,
then,
because
like
it built up around that point.
Yeah. So like we get some like superhero stuff at the beginning, then it kind of takes a bit of a sidetrack going around the romance stuff, and then kind of goes back into the superhero stuff towards the end.
Yeah, I would definitely say that it's first and foremost a romance. Like, even though it takes place in this speculative fiction style space, the romance is the main thread of the story. It's the A plot. Because even like, I really like the superhero plot. I do really like the superhero plot, but I feel like it is significantly less detailed and less addressed than the romance.
Exactly. And just to clarify as well, the main character is bisexual, and we see a female-female romance in this book. Just to
Can I also just trump the romance thing for 1 second? Because the thing that I think that most annoyed me, and Els had to clarify what it was actually called for me, was the tense that this book was written in. I think that was the first thing that I was like, I can't do this. I
literally didn't even notice.
How did you not notice?
I didn't notice it either until people pointed it out, and I was like, oh. I don't think
I don't find trouble like switching between reading tenses in books. So it wasn't something I even
Sorry, usually I don't notice it, but it's because it was so obviously different to like the other things that I had been recently reading, that I was reading and I was like, what's weird about this? Why can I not? What's going on?
Especially since you jumped from high fantasy, which is traditionally third person past.
Yeah.
Once you're into that headspace, it's a real change.
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
Bless.
I'm dying. I'm still dying.
But yeah, I loved the romance. I thought it was so incredibly cute.
My favorite part of it all. I think
it's
I
very
mentioned
wholesome.
Yeah, like my favorite bit was when they were listening to like some music and it's not really a spoiler, but it was just a line.
Yeah.
They put on a song and then the MC was like, oh, did she pick this song because she has a crush on me and it's about crushes, or does she just like the song? And I was like, I have had those feelings.
Yeah.
So many times.
Right. Yeah. That was so relatable.
No, I'm sweating now.
Yeah, I just saw a comment as well from Caitlin, who rated it 1.5. Everything was super obvious and predictable, like the romance. The movie date was super adorable. And this was like the most predictable book. I think that's kind of the style of it, because we talked about this in the book meets as well. And we think it's probably the age it was like set at, as well as the style of the book. Like, I'm not very familiar with comics, but someone was saying that with comics, the predictability is that what someone was saying? Like,
I think that's what Els was talking about. But yeah, I think the whole predictability part of it was, I think it's part of the genre. Like, it's just part of how it works.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. So I'm by no means an expert on comic books. I get most of my information from a friend who was at the meet, which was great because we could just field it all to her.
Yeah.
But there's been a definite shift, especially in the past 10 years, in the way that superhero media is formulated. So now we get stuff like Infinity War, and we get The Dark Knight Rises, and all of this really this really grim, dark science fiction. But I think it was 1964, the most popular piece of superhero media was the television show Batman and Robin, which is camp, colorful, and ridiculous.
I love it. It's such a good show.
This sense of bright, cheerful predictability is actually quite common to a certain era of the comic book, especially when you look back to before there was such a thing as all these superhero movies, like when they were less common, pre-Iron Man. So even in the early 2000s, it was the comic books themselves. And unfortunately, I'm not at my house, so I can't pull out some comic books to be like, hey, examples. Even the comic books of the early 2000s had bright predictability. And I really liked that in relation to Not Your Sidekick, because it did feel like it was emulating that style of the genre.
Mm. Yeah, and I think like because it was so very obvious with the predictability, like it didn't seem like it was trying to be really subtle, that I didn't find it a problem. Like I didn't take issue with the predictability because I was like, this is how the book is written. It's like intentionally like this. Rather than like having a book where everything's just super like you can predict everything and you don't think it's meant to be that easy to pick out everything and you're just like, this is frustrating.
But not only that, there were a couple of other points within the book that were not predictable, like that we can talk about later, that are in the spoiler section. But yeah, so I don't think the whole book was predictable, but there were definitely like big sections that were. Yeah,
like some of the major plot points / twists.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah, if anyone, oh, sorry, phone's going off.
Side note, while we're waiting, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So on to like quickly the book of the next month. I've read the Arc. Has anyone read the Arc and the final copy? And is there any differences, or can I just reread the Arc?
Are you asking people watching? Because I don't think any of us have read it yet.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, hold up. My phone is ringing. Jacob, go away.
Where is
Jacob? He's at work, so he's ringing me. I'm like, babe, can't talk. I'm on a live show. Okay.
I'm busy.
I'm busy with my booming success actor style life.
Wait, are you intending to reread it, or you're asking if you need to reread the finished
I'm going to reread it anyway because I loved it.
Okay. But, do you have a finished copy?
No, I'm just thinking, should I go get one from work or anything?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to you, I guess.
Maybe that'll like be a point of contention, a topic.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing anything about any major things changing, but I haven't looked either. So
well, I no longer trust ARC copies after Iron Gold, and a big thing that just changed my life forever. So
okay.
So Jessica asks, are there any dark themes in this book, or is it very light because the book is written for younger readers?
It feels very light, or it felt very light to me. I think there are the traditional underlying themes of never meet your heroes, humanity is terrible, but like that's normal. And
it's very normal. Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it a dark book in any sense, because it like we were talking before about how it reads very young, and I think that is it's definitely appropriate for younger readers in that sense, in that it doesn't really I don't know how to put this. It's fairly light. It's good for younger readers. Feel free to give it to your 12-year-olds.
Would certainly recommend it to 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Definitely feels appropriate for that. And we were saying yesterday, someone was saying that if they'd read it as a child, they probably would have enjoyed it a lot more because they wouldn't have been as critical or as analytical about it, because there would have been this sense of nostalgia applied.
Oh, I think Sophia just exploded.
Oh no. You good?
Are you okay?
Maya.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
Lovely.
He's back.
Okay.
What happened?
All right, I
Yes,
think
it's
we're
fine.
probably going to dive into some spoiler territory now. So if you haven't read the book and don't want to have the story ruined for you, then I would probably suggest leaving now. Yeah, we're going to get into some of the details and talk about twists and turns and plot points and stuff like that. So just a heads up.
Quick Insta story while I'm at it.
Okay.
I'm trying to like chuck a whatever.
Mm.
It's just Kaz's face. Yeah, look, I'm not going to post that. It's not
Thank
pretty.
you.
That's a
Thank
half
you.
face. I'm just going to leave it. I'll leave it.
Oh my god.
All right, let's jump into some spoilers. If any of you have any
Let's do
questions
it.
as well, or any part of the book that you want to talk about in particular, just leave those in the comments and we can touch upon that. I've been like half looking at the questions as well. So if I've missed anything, please just repost because I'm half distracted.
I just see Pierre going.
Sorry, I'm just about to actually pass out.
No.
Don't mind me. I'm
Please don't pass out.
strip a little bit.
Take it off, girl. Take it off.
Oh my god, it's like 1,000,000,000 degrees.
Okay, so what should we talk about first? Hold on, let me just see if there's any.
Let's talk about. Oh yeah, you're on the questions too.
Yeah, I can see you sitting through it. Okay.
Why don't we talk about the sibling relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about
Definitely.
Jess and her sister. I think that was definitely a big thing that we touched on when we were at our book meet.
We spent a lot of time talking about boobs at ours, so.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
What? That is so productive.
Yeah. We spoke about the book for like 10 minutes and then we were like, so tits. That's
That's so good.
I just realized Alice doesn't have headphones on, so whoever's like around her can definitely hear me talking about tits.
I'm alone.
Oh, good.
Okay, back on track. We're yes, the siblings.
Yes.
Because in this one, her siblings aren't super involved. So like Claudia is off, like at that superhero / villain academy school thingamabob. Pops up kind of later down the track to foil their plans, and is a huge biatch. And then the brother's kind of just like really quiet and secluded and doesn't get too involved.
I thought he would have a bigger part. I thought they were like setting up to something when he's always in his room building things. There's lights under the doors. I was expecting to be like, he's also a superhero, but no.
Yeah, well, at the very least, especially especially with like Em and Abby and with her powers being about electronics, I was wondering if maybe like the brother would get involved because he's super kind of into that stuff as well. So I was like
into science and all that kind of thing. I was expecting him to come out and be like, I'm a rocket scientist, by the way, and this is my power. And I was like, it didn't happen.
Amazing. And it didn't happen, nothing.
Yeah.
Can I also go ahead.
I was still on the relationships thing, sibling relationships. I mentioned this yesterday as well, but at the same time I was reading the Lara Jean books, and in those books the sibling relationships are like super strong. They're a huge part of the story and Lara Jean's life. So like having the comparison of seeing her super close with her sisters, and then in this one Jess is like doesn't have the best relationship with her siblings, like not very close, and then the whole issues with Claudia was just, it was sad to see, especially
that was a mess.
Yeah.
Because especially because she had like, I think the part that really got me, because it's funny because I have a sister, and like when I was reading it I was like, she would either like really do this to me or she'd be like, no, I would never do that to you. So it was like there's no in between. But like the part when Jess is like thinking about all of her memories with her sister, I was just like, oh, this is so tragic. Oh my god. It was so sad. And the fact that she like the whole time she's just like, oh, like I'm like the mediocre sibling. I'm like, no, you're not. You're special. It's fine.
Yeah, because
it's fine.
Like she'd ended up did having a power, but
the worst power in the world. Not a
You were so salty about it.
I have a power. I can find things if you ask me directly. in a very specific manner. It doesn't work if you're
It's like, where is my mother? That's
doesn't-
it. And then she just points.
that way. It killed me. Killed me a little bit.
If she'd like if she had been like, I know what like latitude and longitude she's at, that would have been cool.
Mm.
Literally any other power would have
Like,
been. Minty breath
specifically.
power probably would have been cooler than that. Like, seriously? Where are the files?
Someone mentioned this yesterday, and I completely agree though, because with like the whole setup with her really wanting to have a superpower and becoming a hero, I feel like if she had like suddenly gotten this like incredible power, it would have been like way too obvious and way too convenient.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, just because like her wanting it so bad and her not having it, we're just like, oh, she'll end up having a power by the end of it. But having something that was really subtle and like useful to an extent, but it's not like life-changing, and it's not actually going to still get her on the hero track because it's not one of the powers they have listed as like qualifying you to become a hero. I thought that was really interesting, and I actually really liked that fact, because otherwise again that would have been like a super predictable part of
Me
it.
personally, I would have been like, I don't even want it. You know, I would rather just not have powers than have this dodgy ass second rate. Not off the A list. You ever watching
It's
this
not
shit?
even A-list,
Not
it's
off the
like D-list.
That's so bitter.
U list. It's not even a thing.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, I definitely feel like if she'd come out with like a big ass power that's like
Yeah,
super
been
cool
like,
and everything, I would have been like,
how handy.
nah,
for
Little too much.
literally the rating of this book would have just gone down to like a 2
Mhm.
or a 1. I would have been like, no, this is not. No, that's not fair. But
for
yes,
the
anyway,
underdog.
that's my opinion. Yes, that's my opinion. We can move on.
It's wrong. I'm just kidding. It's just being all like the dark hole of book Twitter. Opinions are wrong.
Oh no, book Twitter. Yes,
Oh, book Twitter.
I don't. I'm not going into that today. I'm not going on Twitter today. It's going to be a mess. All right.
Someone stated the world sounds like the Boku no Hero Academia anime, and someone actually yesterday at our meet was very like drew a lot of comparisons to that. So now we might all have
Yeah.
to understand.
Is this your way of endorsing it so that we watch it?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Oh, so none of us
Oh, okay.
haven't a
Okay.
clue.
I
Okay.
wouldn't know. What else can we touch on? A romance. Yes.
Cute ass.
It was so obvious that
M was
M was
Oh.
Abby.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But I think that was the whole point. Like, you're meant to know. Like, you're meant to know that she is
talking
Abby,
about her
and the fact.
feelings, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about her butt. Oh, that was so funny.
Oh my
She's got a
God.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. Like in those scenes where Jess is talking to Em, being like talking about Abby, and I'm just like, oh my God. And just like with the panel with her emotions kind of showing with the colors, I was just like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
When it goes pink, I was like, oh, she knows. It's so funny. I loved it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I thought it was so cute. Yes.
It was very cute.
Yeah, but I definitely like really liked how their relationship progressed. Like, I know that's like someone did mention at the book meet though, like there was a lot of like feelings from Jess, like, so because we're obviously reading it from her like perspective, but then like people were saying that maybe Abby, it was like a little bit weird for her to then reciprocate, like just like because like even though she was M and all that kind of thing and she knew about Jess's feelings, it's like, oh, so why did she reciprocate unless she had feelings in the first place?
Yeah, because I feel like we don't see much evidence of Abby's feelings.
Yeah.
We
towards
also
her,
never get like happy endings in books. There's always like some point of contention where it's like, I have a crush on you, I don't
Yeah.
have a crush on you, or I do have a crush on you, but here's some drama just for the hell of it, as opposed to being like, yes, yes, and then we're like, oh, what
was this
with
sweetness?
all this acceptance?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One, you just briefly mentioned like happy endings, which made me think about the ending of the book, which I didn't love. I feel like, because like after the climax of the book with like Claudia coming in and then taking Orion away, and then they just kind of go back to their normal life, I was like, this is wrapping up a little too neatly. Like things are still like, it's kind of a cliffhanger because we don't know what's going to happen next, but everything just kind of settles down, and I was feeling a little underwhelmed by the end.
It was a bit too clean and polished.
Yeah, for what it like for this everything that was at stake. I was like, this just doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah, and wasn't there a line that someone mentioned how like, oh, like let the adults take care of it or something like that?
Yeah.
That.
Oh, God.
So,
I say as we're all adults now.
Take care of any-
Sorry?
even though the adults literally did nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, let the adults solve the problem. That was aggravating. I was like, no, they did nothing. They were like the damsels in distress in this situation.
Like they needed to be rescued. Yeah, like they were the ones that needed help. And then they're like, no, wait, it's okay. I'll take care of it. It's like, no, you don't. You can't take care of it.
No, you
Look at Els, by the way. Look at her. I was like, I saw her like with this little cup of tea, just being like.
I really appreciate that we're literally all like the grandma friend. There's not one of us that is not the grandma friend. Oh my God, I love that mug. I was going to get that.
It's so cute. I love it. Someone's asked a couple of times, actually. I don't think we've touched upon this, but any like spoilery dislikes?
All of it.
Oh, Fiera.
I saw the 90% of it, actually.
All of it.
Where to begin? Well, let me tell you a thing.
Take it away.
No, I literally don't have it. It's pretty much
I'm really curious, though.
No, I just didn't like it at all. Any of it. I'm a monster, okay? I don't like nice things. Why am I even part of this book club? I hate everything. I'm just having a really hard time right now. No, look, I liked it because it was so like light and fluffy, as opposed to, you know, like I just read a chapter where like 90% of the people that I love died. So it's nice to have some like happy girls in love and, you know, a superhero endorsing a toothpaste and something that just doesn't require a lot of brain power. For me personally, I mean, I'm not out there saying it's not a brain power book, but
it is really light though.
Before I go and get taken the wrong way.
No, it is a light book though.
It was super light, and that's what I enjoy about it. Like that I could read it in one sitting.
Yeah.
And then just continue my life.
Yeah, exactly. Someone said, I loved the really normal casual bi rep. I'm bi. I really wish I had this book when I was in middle or high school. It's nice to see rep so normal and not a big deal. That's something that we also really discussed yesterday as well. Really loved how it was so normalized. Sorry, that was very dramatic.
Bless you, Tiara.
It's gone. I still do that. So I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, no, it was definitely really good. Like who was it that? I don't know if it was Els or someone else that said that, like, you know, when she comes out, like it wasn't like a massive deal. They're like, okay, cool. That's that's fine.
Good to know.
Like they're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a massive deal, which was great. Like, because not to say that people coming out isn't a massive deal, but the fact that like being bi or gay or anything like that is just so normal that they're like, okay, that's great. Like, I'm like, that's good.
Cool.
Wholesome.
I
love it.
Yeah.
Like society has moved past the whole.
That resonated with me on a personal level because I'm bi, and when I came out, I kind of got ostracized by my church community, and like I lost an entire group of friends as a consequence. So like just to see it, even though it was small, it was a throwaway line. Just to see this alternative response was really nice. I wouldn't go, like,
yeah, it was good.
Like the word that's coming to mind is healing. I'm not going to say healing so much, but definitely soothing. Soothing.
Yeah, definitely.
I liked it a lot because it was very similar to mine. I was like, I'm bi, and they're like, cool, we know, and you're on dinner, and I was like, cool, thanks, guys. It just feels good getting off my chest. But yeah, so it was nice to see, as opposed to this big thing, as Sophia said, like it is a big thing, but then also there are those instances where it's just like, yeah, cool.
You also had some really interesting points, Sophia, on the biracial rep. Did you want to touch more upon that?
Oh, yeah, I'll touch on that. So there is a scene in the book. So I'm half Vietnamese, just to clarify, and the character is half Vietnamese, half Chinese. And there's a scene in the book where she goes to this banh mi store and orders like she orders her food and she says it in Vietnamese, but the lady at the shop just kind of looks at her and goes like, did you just mean this in English? And I'm like, that is so relatable, because the fact that like my capability of speaking Vietnamese has like kind of just like decreased over time because I don't speak it as often anymore, and I can understand it, but I can't speak it very well. And the fact that she's in the situation where she's trying to connect with her heritage and trying to speak the language, but then she's kind of like shut down for it. I was like, that is so me. That happens all the time. But even though like my grandparents like, you should speak Vietnamese, and I'm like, but I tried. And you're like, that's wrong. I'm like, okay, oh, I'm sorry, I tried. Yeah, it was very good to see that, especially because she's not like fully Vietnamese, she's also half, and having that kind of just like kind of just that connection with her heritage was really interesting to see, especially the fact that it's not as strong as she wants it to be. Like she wants it to be this really strong connection, but it's not what she gets. And I'm like, feels, I get it. Totally relatable.
I thought it was really interesting because like someone also made a comment about like no discrimination, like racial discrimination until the very end with Orion, which kind of leads into one of the questions someone asks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, can we talk about the reveal of the superheroes being the true villains? Do we think that moment was executed well?
I would say, well, obviously, like Orion had her monologue, as all superheroes / villains do. Yeah. But yeah, that like especially that part when she makes those racial like those racist comments, I was just like, oh, maybe some people have not moved past the fact that there's all these different cultures and different ethnicities within the community, and they just like it was offhand, but it also kind of like proved a point where like there will still always be people that are not accepting of others.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. It's amazing.
Yeah. If anyone needs a refresher, what Orion says is like, can you imagine refugees from the Southeast Asian Alliance in the League? Please. How would that look on the cereal boxes? I was just like, oh, stop it.
I would like a dramatic reading of that whole book from you.
Sorry?
I would like a dramatic reading of the whole book from you. Every line. I want different voices. I want everything.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Just do the audiobook. Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was super interesting, like touching on how the heroes aren't really necessarily good people, and it's all fabricated by the government. They're super involved in who does become a hero, who becomes a villain. It's all like commercialized as well. Like so much of it is fabricated.
Yeah, and I guess that whole point was like very relevant to like today's society. Like I think someone was saying how like we don't necessarily in our society, but there's like very influential people out there that like are not necessarily celebrity culture does not necessarily like they're all like renowned and they're all well known and they all have this brand, but like behind the brand, like who are they? And it's very interesting to see that.
And it can be kind of dangerous to worship these people that you don't actually know. You just like the idea of them or what you're being shown.
Yeah, and wasn't like, I can't remember which character it was that says that your hair products don't work. Who was it that says that to Orion?
Was it Emma?
Emma, I think it was. Or it was Belle.
It was it was just so funny. Just like, your hair products don't work. And I was like, amazing. Exactly what I would do in that situation.
Funny.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting.
I don't know if this actually happened or if I dreamt it, but like they had to recharge their powers.
Yes.
That was a thing. Yeah, that was possibly the most annoying thing I've ever experienced. It's definitely up there with just, are you fucking kidding me? You can't be a superhero and then just have to recharge every now and again. God damn it.
I liked that aspect. I liked that there
because it's like energy
variation.
I know, yeah.
In powers and variation in
Pierre.
I get it, but it was just annoying. I imagine being midway through a battle and being like, "Please hold for 15 minutes while I just go sit down and take a break." Oh,
I just need a recharge. Be right back.
Anyway, that's my rant.
I feel like in the middle of a scene, like with the adrenaline running, they might be able to like prolong it a little bit. Just like if you were actually in a fight scene and you like were running around and hitting things and blah, 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 you'd have more energy. So maybe it's kind of similar in that respect.
Well, see, that's what I thought until 2 days ago when I passed out running a 50-meter race.
But were you being chased by someone that was going to?
No, I was doing the parents' race, which was even more terrifying. Like a whole school of children. I was like, I'll run the parents' race. My legs. It's a whole story. It's very embarrassing.
I
can't get over how cozy Els looks.
So
I just want to be in there with you. It looks so
cold. Please just climb in and help me warm up.
I'm a frog. I'm like I'm cold all the time, so I'm no help to you. I'm cold inside, and then it just permeates through my skin.
Sorry, this is just going back to what we're talking about. Caitlin's like, they even have mana potions, aka the pills that they take. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Recharging is for the weak. Thank you very much, Sleepy Wide Studios. Recharging is for the weak.
You didn't survive that race.
Well, that's because I've had a chest infection. Troina, if you don't mind. I'll never admit defeat or weakness.
I'm onto you. I am onto you.
Never meet your heroes.
What about the realization that Bells had powers?
I figured it, like I picked it, but that was more. It does not like it. That is, you don't dye your hair that quickly. It doesn't work like that. I've gone from this dark to blonde over 3 weeks, not instantly. So it doesn't work like that. So
I didn't question it too much, like not with the hair thing, but you know when he would just kind of like run off and be flaky with plans and stuff like that. At the start, I thought it was just because of his feelings for Emma. And then it was just like, it was getting too much and he was feeling like too uncomfortable being around her when she was talking about all these people she has his crushes on. So like at the start that happened and I thought that what was happening afterwards was all because of that. And then it got to the point where he was like running off in the middle of his shift at the restaurant and I was like, okay, something's up here. But then I didn't give it a second thought. And then it was like, and then when they were like looking for Chameleon and they ended up being outside Bells' house, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Also, superhero names suck.
Oh god,
superhero names suck so much. Oh, I'm so
I liked Mischief though.
Mischief was fine. The rest of it was just hard. It's just hard for me. Okay, hard to get through.
We've lost Sophia.
Sophia's just gone. She's gone for a wander. Or she's doing something really embarrassing.
Where she can become invisible, and that's what's happened.
No, she's just frozen. She can stay still for a very long amount of time.
Oh.
I have brain energy to
Statue.
do that. I don't even know if she can hear us. Just talk smack about her while she's gone. God, she's so cute, funny. I just love her glasses and her hair. Damn her.
Lauren said, I really liked it when Bells disguised himself as that woman to walk Jess to work. And I highlighted that point and I was like, yes, girls like supporting women like in that situation. I didn't actually realize it was Bells obviously until later on, but I really liked that scene where like we saw another woman coming to another woman's aid when they were in a situation of feeling really uncomfortable in like a kind of dodgy place, even though it wasn't actually a woman because it was Bells, but it looked like a woman. So when I first saw that scene, I was like, yes.
So I didn't even like think about it. I thought it might have been like for some reason I remember thinking it was like Abby's mum or something, and then like she'd get there and it was Abby's mum, but then obviously that didn't pan out like that. But I don't remember thinking anything of it except being like, oh, that's a really like, good. I'm glad that.
Yeah, I was really pleased.
I went back to it. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see that.
If you guys had superpowers, what would they be and what would your brand of products be to sell? Well, my friends, I've thought about this a long, hard time. I'm stuck. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, can you hear me? I thought I was talking to myself. Okay.
No, yeah, we can hear you. Do tell us.
I have always said if I had like any sort of superpowers, the first thing I would do is become like a vigilante for like animal abusers and lost animals. Like I'd find animals that were lost and I'd like.
So you'd have Jess's power for animals.
No, I'd just be a bad. Then I think about like I'd love, you know, like telekinesis and all that sort of stuff. But I think if I had to pick one, I'd have angel wings, mate. I'd be maximum ride. That's always going to be me. Big, giant angel wings that are totally normal, and people are just like, yeah, cool, that's the girl with angel wings, as opposed to like, what's with that freak mated with a bird? So,
someone had a really cool power that they talked about yesterday, and that was to be able to like understand and speak any language that they hear. So like you could not only talk to people who don't speak English, but you could like speak to animals as well. You'd understand their language. I was like, that would be really cool.
Like elemental powers, I'm really into at the moment. So like having that bond with animals, or just any sort of like avatar power. Basically, being the avatar. I'd be Aang and Korra all at once.
If it was like in this world from the book, I wouldn't want to become a hero. So I'd want a power that wasn't like super fancy schmancy. And this is what I said yesterday. I'd want to not have to sleep, so I could stay up at all hours and get so much done in my life, because I'm so freaking busy all the time. I could read all of the books.
Yeah, that would really suit you. I could not think of anything worse. As like a chronic sleeper, that sounds horrible to me. But
well, you wouldn't feel tired or anything.
No, I like sleeping though. I'm a huge. I don't have enough time. I'm like, I'm going to bed.
I don't have enough hours in the day to sleep.
That's too much I need to do. Or if you had like a second, like a clone that could do all your other stuff as well, but it was still an extension of you. So not like
or if I could pause time and then get shit done. If I have a deadline, I just pause time 5 minutes before it's due and then get the whole assignment done.
That was me pretending you paused me because I'm.
Oh, I was wondering what you were doing. You were just glaring at me. So I'm like, okay.
No, yeah, you definitely need like more hours in your day, or like a second set of hands to do things.
Hands.
And if I wasn't so lazy, I'd totally offer to help you. But
you've got your own shit to do.
I do, but I just don't do it. What about you, Els? What would you have? Oh, and what products would you endorse?
I tuned out because my boss was texting me asking if I can come into work this afternoon. Could you just summarize the question for me, please?
If you had superpowers, what powers would they be? And if you had like a brand to endorse?
See, I would probably honestly endorse hair care products because I do a lot with my hair. So it's just
a nice color too, by the way.
It is.
I said that when you first came on, I was like, girl.
So, you know, I could do it right now. This is a brand called Bright. It's spelled Brite. Don't use the purple. It stains everything purple. And I've had really unhealthy looking skin a lot recently. But it's great in your hair. No, for superpowers, I kind of like the idea of telekinesis, because then I could reach the TV remote while my cats are on my lap.
Amen.
Yeah. But I also, a little part of me does really like Jess's power of being able to find things, because I lose my glasses 5 times a day and I need them.
You guys need to dream bigger. You need to dream bigger.
But I don't want to become a hero. Fuck that. I just want to be like...
You could be a villain.
I don't want to do that either. I don't want to be noticeable by anyone.
I would love to be a villain. If I were a villain, I would want to have time travel so I can just like go into the past and fuck shit up, and go into the future and laugh at all the stuff I've ruined.
Just sit in my lab full of cats and laugh.
Yes,
cackle.
That is
me with my wings and my like. I've got like a cat army that are all like bonded to me, but they don't do anything. They just sleep as well. My whole house is made of cats. Except they don't poop, so there's no litter boxes. I don't have to clean them.
I would be okay with talking to cats as long as they understand, and just solely for the purpose of telling them off when they do stuff that annoys me.
Or like, my favorite one would be like when they're laying on top of me and I have to like go to the toilet, but I want to come back and I want them in the exact same position. So I'd be like, I'm just going to the toilet, stay right there, and when I come back, get in the exact same position. As opposed to trying to be like, no, it's cool, just stay. Nah. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'd want wings, and I'd want to be like an animal vigilante. But I'd also want to be like super dramatic. Like I'd want to give like speeches like Darrow and Golden Sun at the gala. I'd also want to string people up by their organs for abusing animals. So.
Oh my God, Piera, I will. I mean, I never would do anything, but like, because
well, then you get to keep your organs in your body.
I know, but that's a scary thought. Just like that you would.
Kitty.
Where's my cat?
He's like, I didn't want to be invited to this.
Artemis is on this chair.
My cat doesn't like humans, so she doesn't chill around humans.
Artemis, oh my God, not in front of my salad. Stop.
What did she do?
Licking her bits.
Oh.
She's right in there. So and Aries has just joined us. Hey, baby. Okay. Kitten.
Find another hair product to endorse. No, I'm sorry. I am listening. I'm doing my makeup and everything because I am going to work after this. Now, I've
taken the whole day off to sleep after this. I'm so excited. Gonna get rid of this chest infection once and for all. Hopefully. Probably not. So I'm so sick. Hey, puss. Hello. He's like, the hell? What pretty eyes.
Kitties. Do we all have cats? Yes.
Yes.
Sophia, who's no longer with us.
Yeah, she's
still alive, but she is no longer.
Yeah.
She's got a dog.
This isn't actually my cat.
But this is somebody else's cat.
I just broke into this house for the cat. No, my cat's. I'm looking after my cousin's cat, so that's why I'm not at home. But I do have two of my own. They are terrible.
Don't you dare. Blasphemy.
I love them more than life, but yesterday Calcifer tried to eat my vest while I was wearing it.
Hey, have you seen all of my books at the moment? Aries has figured if he chews on a book on my bedside table, I'll get up to feed him so he stops chewing on it. So all of my books currently have teeth marks in them.
No.
Come here. I want to cuddle. We're talking about cats and I want to cuddle you.
All right, since we're getting so off track, I think we should see if there's any last questions before we wrap up this video, live show. Kitties!
I love you so much.
Oh, you're so floofy.
She'll stay like this for hours if I give her a good scratch. I love you, bug.
Let me have a quick.
Are there any other questions? This whole live stream is just now cats.
Love it.
Well, people are always saying they want to see more of my animals, so how about this? It looks like there's someone behind me.
Oh, it does, hey?
Like in that corner. It's definitely just, I hope it's just my bed.
Oh, in that corner. How excited are you for Furyborn? Well, Pierre's already read it.
Super.
So, oh yeah, no, that I see what you mean with that person in the back, like looking like a person in the back.
Yeah, right. I would have picked like the Poppy Water read, but I've read it like 3 times in the last month, and I just don't think I could read it a 4th time in the last month.
Come out a month ago.
Yes.
I'm excited for Furyborn, but also the last thing I read on Pierre's recommendation.
Oh, stop it!
Hated.
What was it? Was it Red Rising?
Yes.
Well, look, son, we can't all have nice things. No, I mean, like, look, don't expect anything like crazy and life-changing. But I remember when I read it, I did really enjoy like a lot of like the elemental magic. I really liked Raelle, her whole storyline, whereas like Eliana just was like a cheap rip-off of like Selena Sadolfian, which she totally is. But I really liked like Raelle and like the trials and all that sort of stuff, which obviously we'll get to when we talk about it. But yeah, like don't expect it to be like a new fave or anything. It was just a fun little read.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, look, and if I could go back now, I'd pick Malice, but I've already read it and I'm just obsessed, so. Obsessed.
Did anyone else notice loads of grammatical errors? For example, shocker and shockwave, not smasher and shockwave.
No.
No.
I didn't know.
Nope.
There was nothing, like it might just be a problem with your edition, I guess. I mean, I read the.
Oh.
I was
I read
thinking.
the book.
Sorry?
I read the ebook and I didn't notice any problems. So maybe it is just an edition thing.
Yeah, I didn't care enough to notice. So, I mean, maybe it didn't look
like in regards to the writing style. It was a little bit clunky. It gets clunkier in the second book. I think to a certain extent this was necessary. So stuff like when they're introducing themselves and talking about pronouns, that feels especially clunky, but that's one of those things that's very, very necessary because it's in addition to the normalization of the difference in the text. Tying that back to the predictability, that was another thing. I think so the predictability and the clunkiness go hand in hand to a certain extent. So part of that was necessary, but part of that was also just really. And I say that as someone who really loves the book.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I really enjoyed it, but there were times where it didn't flow very smoothly. And like some of the things felt like they were really forcefully inputted in, not really forcefully, but you can tell they were like intentionally put into the text where they were because they were necessary. But I think it didn't feel supernatural sometimes, like with those scenes when Abby refers to Bells as they, them. And Jess was like, I appreciate that you made the attempt to like use they, them pronouns, but Bells actually goes by he. So I thought that was a really important scene to include, especially if this is a book that is like read for younger people read this book, like seeing a lot of that discourse happening. But it wasn't super flowy.
I think it'll be really interesting to reread it in say 10 years and see how those conversations have changed socially.
Yeah.
When superheroes exist.
Yeah, of course, they're in superheroes.
Because they will. I mean, like, that's just the most natural thing.
Yeah. I mean, because we've come so far in the past 10, 20 years as it is. Like this is where I'm like, so I literally study gender theory as an academic. So one of the most significant texts on gender theory and sexuality in the past 25 years was Judith Butler's Gender Trouble. But there's a lot of stuff in Gender Trouble that doesn't allow for certain experiences. And part of that is because the languages just didn't exist. Like this concept of gender fluidity did not exist 25 years ago. Like people who identified as gender fluid definitely existed, but we didn't have the terms for them. So I'm really interested to see in time how the conversations in this book age, whether they become more normalized and less clunky, or if they just seem like a very archaic attempt at conversations that we've later refined as a society.
I could literally listen to you talk for the rest of my life.
You know, right? I just want to be inside your head and experience your brain.
So eloquently spoken, and like you are like what I aspire to be if I wasn't a total bogan.
I'm glad you think so. I'm presenting at another conference in a week and a half.
You are gonna nail it. Yes, kill it dead, destroy them. So yes, good.
Love that.
Yeah, Els should get a channel. Start BookTube.
I don't think it would be BookTube so much as just like a series of
an analytical
like essays. Like
do it. Anonymously published to the public. Sorry.
One of my favorite YouTube channels is Pop Culture Detective. It would probably be like that, except very literary focused.
Do it. I wish I followed more like analytical like booktubers out there. Because like I know I just get on there and I'm like, I love books. They say it's great. But I would love like that's why whenever I hear like Els talk about a book, I'm like, yes, exercise my brain, like massage my brain to the point of just climax. It's amazing. So I want more. If you have any channel recommendations, leave them somewhere for me. But that's why I would love to see you start a channel, because I could just listen to you talk like about smart stuff for the rest of my life.
Some people are sick of it, but that's
God, no. God, send it my way. Oh, girl, you're the brush of fresh air that I've needed my whole life.
Where's my phone? Where did I put my phone, guys? George, where's my phone?
I'm sitting on it.
He's just staring at me. He's
like a cat.
Strange mad woman.
These strange people through the box.
All right. Sorry, zoning out there. I think we're all kind of brains are switching off. But I think we might wrap up this live show for today. So thank you guys so much for joining us and sending through all of your comments and your questions. I hope you enjoyed chatting with us. Yes, we've spoken about this like all throughout the live show as well. But don't forget, Furyborn is our next book of the month, and we will announce book meet dates and live show information in the next week or so. Bless you.
Sorry.
Not at all. But yeah, thank you, Els and Piera and forgotten long gone Sophia for joining us in the live show. But yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.